Abel and May, part 4. Okay, let's see. We shared a laugh before I continued. So Mom was my hero then, just because she tried to stand up for me to Dad. One night I learned a fun trick. I would distract everyone by pointing off somewhere at the ground or pretending to look at something. I would also act scared and ask, "Is that a snake?" I didn't mean to scare Mom, but Dad and Kane would grab kitchen utensils and stand on their seats while looking wherever I pointed. They would scream in terror like, "Where?" And, "Oh, could it be the devil serpent returning to get us?" Of course, Kane was really watching and protecting his heels. But while they were all looking away and screaming, I snuck food off Dad's plate, Kane's plate, or the platter in the middle of the table. "So you snuck food and hid it in your clothes to eat later?" May giggled. "That's genius!" At first, I might have put a bite in my mouth, I shrugged. That was actually a mistake, since they saw that my mouth was full when they calmed down, so they made me spit it out. But it was a good thing I thought to hide extras in my pockets so I could enjoy them later. "Wow," May blinked. "And that was even before you started caring for the sheep, or right around the time you started doing that, right?" "I think so, yeah," I nodded as I remembered. That and meeting you as a baby were the good things about that year that got me through the rest of it. And once I was on better terms with Kane, he was good at sneaking food for me. I blinked. Not that we've ever really been on bad terms or anything, but, you know. May sighed. "Usual sibling stuff. Yeah, I'm like that with Callie. There are those times when I can tell her stuff, like she's my best friend. But then there are those other moments when we get tired of being around each other." "Exactly," I nodded. "You just need a break from each other every once in a while so you can be around other people. Or a moment to breathe so you can hear the voice of Father God." "What does his voice sound like?" May asked. "I don't know if I've ever heard his voice before. Does he talk more like Dad? Or more like Kane? Or more like you?" "Well," I had to think for a moment. "His voice is very soothing and peaceful, but also powerful and encouraging at the same time. Maybe I've recognized bits of Dad's authority and Kane's confidence in Father God's voice, but I don't think he sounds like any of us, really. I think I've even recognized Mom's comforting tone, Kylie's energy, and your sense of joy in his voice. So one might say that his voice somehow sounds both masculine and feminine, but in a good way, even though it sounds weird the way I'm describing it." May blinked. "Like maybe the best of what a male sounds like and the best of what a female sounds like, but combined?" I shrugged. "Maybe. Also kind of combined with the sound of a peaceful waterfall or thundering waves of the ocean, with the singing of birds and singing of whales, but in a whispered form. And he can sound different to me in different situations, but it's the most beautiful thing to listen to him. And when you hear him, you'll know. Because this feeling of peace just comes over you." May was smiling as she sighed happily and rested against my left shoulder. "Well, I like how you recognized all of our voices and a bunch of sounds from nature in his voice. But I'm still wondering what part of your voice is in Father God's voice. Or is it that he put a different part of his own voice into each of us?" "Huh," I blinked. "I never thought of it that way. But I guess that if each of us bears his image, but in a different way, I guess you're onto something there." I glanced over at her and saw her yawning. This made me feel like yawning. So, May, would you like to sleep over in my shelter with me tonight? Since we're already here and the sun is setting and I'm starting to get sleepy too. All right, she said with another yawn. We helped each other stand so we could go inside my shelter. I spread my blanket on the pile of hay, letting her sleep closer to the wall near the middle of the blanket. The side of the blanket closer to the doorway was where I chose to lie down. Then I used the other end of the blanket to cover me